create them using modern technology. We don't see a lot of God games nowadays because they're actually pretty hard to create because they are hybrid genre, not just two genres but multiple, and that's pretty much the Apeiron, the core of Apeiron in a nutshell. It's a God game. But Apeiron also, over the years, because we've been developing for over 6 years now, we've incorporated multiple other elements into it, such as esports, card-based battles, the franchising element. Actually, we started out pretty early, so there's stories, there's merchandise. But ultimately, we moved on to the blockchain last year because, well, we're not a AAA studio, but we try to be a pretty crazy developer to embrace technology, to find a new vantage point with which our company and our team can thrive. So we moved to not just to God games, but also to the blockchain environment, incorporating. It's not just a mobile port we're doing here. We're actually trying to incorporate new mechanisms that fit the NFT model, the idea of player ownership, new gameplay possibilities, merging 2 more new mechanics with it, making this a giant 4-game mechanic game with 4 NFTs and 3 tokens, turning them into quite a monster of a game. But this is only on the to understand Apeiron, the full scale is actually often mind-boggling. But the UX and interface at all is actually pretty straightforward. It's just a planet and 4 elements and you. And you'll just be playing God. You'll have your own planets. You use the 4 elements, casting fireballs, rainstorms, earthquakes, tornadoes, shaping the landscape, and also affecting the dudes, the populace of the planet, to build different things for you. And that's pretty much the essence of Apeiron, is to feel what it's like to play God across the universe, where planets, star systems, galaxies are all involved on the game map.
That's awesome. And I think from what I can see, and especially just watching, I did a little bit of research leading up to this. So I went to your website and I saw the YouTube videos. It looks like a real-time strategy game where you're using cards and actually interacting with the combat on the other side of someone. How would you explain the gameplay and the mechanism a little bit more?
Well, for that, you're talking about the combat side. So the combat side of the equation is actually a merge between action RPG, card-based battle, and a little bit of Smash Brothers, if you ask me. And, well, actually, auto chess as well. So the battle is entirely new, together with the God game simulation. It's have you played Clash Royale? It's a mobile game by Supercell.
I have limited use. I have a little bit of experience with it, but I have played a little bit.
Well, it's a card-based in real time, so it's not turn-based. Everything happens in real time, and you can actually control the main character on the battle screen, so you can move around. So there's a lot of skill, time, and strategic management involved. And it will be coupled with 4 apostles. Every battle, you control the main avatar, but you can bring 4 pets along, but each having their own skills that you can mix and match as you play through the dungeons. Ultimately, at the very core, it's also a deck building game. The main deck is formed by your NFT, the planet, how you shape the planet, how you treat your civilization as your main deck, and then you combine it with your pets to form a deck that you think will be viable and compete with other players, or in dungeons that's spread around the game map, all inside your own planet. And that's pretty much the combat side. It's also very new, so it's kind of hard to explain what it's actually like, but it's a merge between action RPG and card-based battles. But luckily, the battle demo is going to come out in a month's time, and you guys will be playing it firsthand, either by owning one of our Primeval planets or by participating in our upcoming free mints. And you can get the demo pass for free and get to experience the game yourself.
That's amazing. Another question that I have related to, or along the same vein, I guess you could say, is how players would interact with each other. The comment that I saw and that you just explained would this be against other players, I'm assuming, who have their own planets, or is this more of like a PvE type of game?
That's actually both sides of the equation. Apeiron has a lot of different gaming elements to fit all kinds of gamers, gaming guilds, pro players, casual gamers, and even investors. So the way we interact mostly, of course, is via combat or cooperation. In the combat mode, there's the arena, there's the battlegrounds where you can fight against other players individually or as a guild or as an alliance. While on the PvE end, you can actually fight in dungeons or with against world bosses, where you fight as an alliance against one giant entity. It's all very challenging, the guild and alliance aspect of play, because we make it very, very hellish, and so yeah, you can expect many different types of gameplay elements rising from social dynamics, because this is just the beginning. In the late games, when the game map opens up into the game map option, you can actually fight in giant galactic battles across galaxies against giant gaming guilds or groups of players from many regions around the world. And to finally sum it all up, the game doesn't just end in Apeiron. Apeiron is moving on to be a franchise, and with its own gaming community that actually is quite blossoming right now. We don't just play Apeiron, we can play many other games and chat things beyond Apeiron, and the community is one of the things that we're most proud of right now, because it's really blossoming, and the dudes over there are extremely funny and, well, pretty good at gaming as well. You'll find a lot of like-minded individuals if you are a true gamer, and these are not just scholars or grinders trying to flip tokens you're playing with. These are actual gamers who are actually a very intimate knowledge of Apeiron, and also very, very interested in all games in general as well. Oh, that's it.
That's great, and it actually leads me to the next question that I had, which was, as you were explaining the community that you're building and what's next, and the scope beyond Apeiron, helping all of our gamers here understand more about what it takes to actually play your game would be amazing. So what are the necessary requirements? Are NFTs required? Is this game free to play? What should one expect if they wanted to get involved and play your game for the first time?
Well, when the game is officially launched, you'll need one planet to play the game, officially. One planet is all you need to play the game. You can earn tokens during it. You can create and mint different NFTs along the way. And that's the basic unit of play. But of course, if you want to try the game out for free, we'll actually partner with a lot of gaming guilds, and we sort of place the free-to-play element with the gaming guilds. Initially, we actually thought of doing free-to-play, but the more we look into the markets, the more we realize there are two hyperinflationary mechanisms out there in the play-to-earn fields today: the idea of play-to-earn itself and free-to-play elements. Both of these, partnered with a blockchain economy, are extremely hyperinflationary, and a lot of games right now are combining the two, which we actually see as one of the main points that cannot be balanced. When it comes to free-to-play, we will allow our players to still play the game for free, but there'll be other options, and they would have to either join a gaming guild to play with the games, the other gamers in those guilds, or they can actually play as a scholar, not via the gaming guilds, but as via other players who own planets that like to rent it out. These are ways with which players can play for free, but of course a portion of the tokens or the creation of NFTs will be significantly limited. But of course, in terms of the gaming guilds and the players, we really try to shine a different light when we try to find our partners. The gaming guilds Apeiron partner with have been sourced very tediously. We don't just find gaming guilds who run on any play-to-earn model. We actually find gaming guilds who have much greater plans, looking into what the next gaming guild 2.0 or scholarship 2.0 will look like. And it's not just about earning tokens or flipping economies or making a quick profit and moving on. These are actual gamers who form these gaming guilds, who have in-depth experience and also invest in their own games and make a really, well, how do I put it? A centralized choice. Well, in a decentralized environment, turning these guilds into the new publishers in the Web3 space. And we work very closely with them to not just educate the users in Web3 and gaming, but also in various elements that can expand beyond Web3, such as esports, win-to-earn, franchising, and other venues of collaboration. That's sidetracking a lot, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Right on. Since you explained the planets so much, I just have one follow-up question that I'm personally curious about. You mentioned that for a player, no matter how you want to get into the game, some association with the planet is necessary, whether it's through a guild or just an independent gamer who owns their own planet. Could you explain a little bit more about how the planet ecosystem is? I'm assuming, based on what you've told us, it's a limited supply, but is there maybe rarities or different sizes?
The planets can be bred, and the initial supply is only around 4,000, and players have to breed it all the way up to well, any amount we wish. We control the supply by controlling the mini black holes, the items that's needed to breed these planets. The supply, the direct supply of the items, the cost of the items, and of course the elements and rarity. So when it comes to the elements and rarity, the planets are actually there are few elements I should explain. The first element is the planet type. Every planet is formed using the 4 elements. The most basic planets is the one with the lowest rarity is actually a quad planet involving all 4 elements. These planets make up the bulk of the supply, and they are really great for introductions and have their own unique gameplay styles when it comes to planet simulation. But again, these planets are really on the easier side to play, and it really helps onboard new users. From 4 elements, you can purify your elements from 4 to 3, from 3 to 2, and from 2 to 1. The fewer elements your planet is comprised of, the more powerful your planet becomes. Of course, the ability to play and groom these planets becomes a little more difficult, but at the same time, they are also a little more powerful with each step. In terms of breeding, a lot of people right now who owns our NFTs actually own 3 of their NFTs, because 3 NFTs allows you to pretty much breed the planets endlessly. And a lot of the users who hold our NFTs right now plan to create their own planet farms, to start their own guilds, alliances, or scholarship systems as well. The other side of the equation is on aging. So planets in Apeiron age. These NFTs actually age. The older your planet gets, the more equipment you can equip onto these planets. We call them relic slots. So by aging your planet, there's actually, you can wait 1 day of our lives. It's all 1 year in the planet's age. The planet should be around 150 years old by now. But to age it more rapidly, you can orbit them around our stars, our suns, the land of Apeiron, which increases the aging factor significantly. But ultimately, there's also the consumption of other planets. When it comes to controlling the planet supply, there's a mechanism where a planet can consume another planet. By consuming another planet, you can add that planet's age to your own planet, significantly or rapidly increasing the planet's age in a very, very short time frame. This, if you think about it, in effect, when in a breeding game, when of course there'll often be the undesirable builds, unplayable decks that probably won't be as enticing on the marketplace. But with time, when it's 360 years old or 600 years old, even the least desirable builds will have its own market, because players will often be looking to age their planets significantly, especially during competitions, GVG tournaments, or esports events. So they'll be finding these planets on the marketplace, which is actually very old, and consume them directly. This also consumes our play-to-earn tokens in the process. So it's quite a unique sync. And these are pretty much the two main features of the planet one should look out for. But the planet itself is actually one planet is all you need. So would suggest you guys to get your planets close up on game launch. Right now, it may be still a little more expensive compared with most games out there, but the pricing right now is because, well, you can breed. So most people who own a planet actually own 2 to 3 planets at least, so they can breed and sell those ones for the players later. But if you're just looking to play the game, finally, to repeat one more time, just get a planet closer to launch, and you're all set.
All right. Thank you for that. There was so much information. I feel like I've learned so much about your game already. Just to explain a little bit more for everyone listening, we are well underway and almost done with the intro section of this AMA. In probably about 10 minutes, we're going to be shifting to the community section, where we're going to bring people in to ask questions that were sourced in our Discord that people wanted to know about your game. So Frank, with the few questions that we have left in the intro section, we're going to shift a little bit from the how the game works and focus more on the decisions that you made leading up to the game. So maybe one question we can ask to get things started is around the blockchain you chose. So could you explain what blockchain Apeirion's on, and then the reasoning behind making that decision?
Okay. Well, we chose Polygon. With the scope we're going for, and the years of work we've placed into it, we chose the one with the biggest user base, and that's Ethereum. But of course, Ethereum, with its gas fees and speed and everything, is still, and the implementation of ETH 2.0 is still quite a few years away. We seek a layer 2 solution on ETH. When it comes to layer 2, there's only pretty much 2 choices back when we selected. It's a choice between Polygon versus Immutable X. Well, to put it bluntly, our view was a choice that comes down to front end versus back end, where Immutable X had a better back end solution when it comes to structure, so you can mint huge amounts of NFTs with no problem. While Polygon had the better front end solution, friendlier UX, UI, and but of course, when it comes to a large amount of NFTs, there may be some problems as well. Ultimately, we chose front end. As with all game developers, the UI and UX wins every time of the day, and so we chose Polygon. And on the side note is that Apeiron, while is an NFT game and a breeding game at it, but we actually don't. We actually limit the supply of our planets and the creation of our relics, the equipment NFTs, significantly. Players cannot actually easily create NFTs or breed planets at a really rapid pace. So we're not creating millions and millions of NFTs per day or per week. We're actually going for more quality over quantity, where the creation of NFTs takes time, takes skill, and takes a long time to wait in order to groom that perfect wonder in our game. The 2 main types of NFTs are the Wonder Relics or the Apostles. The Apostles are the pets that you bring along in combat. It's sort of like Pokemons. You can catch them. It's easy. You can turn them into NFTs. But in order to catch the better ones, you have to merge them, you have to mix them, you have to go into the deeper dungeons to get higher combat power based Apostles, and only then will you fetch a decent price. On the other end are the Wonder Relics. These are actually volcanoes, waterfalls, pyramids. These things don't come easy, and it takes quite some time for players to groom and shape their planets before they pop up. Once they do, though, they provide powerful passive bonuses. It's much like a piece of equipment that you can create, and the players will. Sorry. Lost in my train of thoughts here, but where am I? So you have the relics and the apostles. to turn them into NFTs and relics. That's these are the on-chain functions that actually only can be performed at the earliest once a week, because it's only performable when you reset your planets, and players are not encouraged to reset their planets later in the game. And that's pretty much it for why we chose Polygon. As for the other question that you asked on how it all works, well, it's how the reset mechanism works. In Apeiron, we implemented specifically for the blockchain a roguelike gameplay cycle. The player's planet itself, the prayers, your dudes, your civilizations will ask, the dungeons you fight in each playthrough will always be different. And you'll find yourself grooming your planets, venturing into dungeons and arenas, but reaching certain bottlenecks, especially early in the playthrough. This is the time when you should reset your planet, sacrificing all you have done so far, and resetting. Resetting destroys and removes everything you've built so far, but it gives you Apeiron tokens, it allows you to level up, and it allows the opportunity to create NFTs. Initially, players will reset to gain levels, to grow in power, but eventually, as they install more equipment, as they level up, and as they learn to play better, they can venture deeper into the dungeons, build even more powerful relics, and with each playthrough they grow a little stronger. This roguelike structure encourages players to play endlessly, with different sets of challenges and game rules with each playthrough, making it unique and fun each time you play. This is one of the core features of Apeiron on a single-player basis, and in the mid to long game map, it becomes an entire alliance and multiplayer mechanism, which I'll talk about it a little later.
All right. Cool. And I think one question that gets asked almost in tandem with what blockchain you choose was how your game is approaching security. I know with your game not being out, the situations that you've been in are limited, but maybe just expressing generally how your project is thinking about security on the game side and also on the crypto side aligns with what blockchain you choose as well as other things you're looking for.
We do the audits pretty standardly. The certics we do with every blockchain contract we have, and then we also test play it together with the community, and we always are on the change, listening to user feedback, monitoring the blockchain. One of our co-founders, Jim, our CTO, already have been developing another blockchain project before they joined us called Measure Rotated Token, so he has ample experience. He built himself an in-house bot monitor that monitors sudden influxes of price changes in the blockchain contracts to help us find irregular patterns. But of course, even if we do the normal strategic audits and we have an in-house bot to monitor trades, still hacks, I think, will always happen. And in that case, as I always say, the ultimate protection against hacks is actually compensation. I don't think anyone can guarantee a hack-proof contract. But when it comes to compensation, I think it's up to the developers to really find a way to identify what's being lost and how to properly compensate the users in case a hack happens. We have multiple measures to do this. We will certainly use some of the insurance programs from Strategic Shield, but ultimately we have shadow tokens that monitor and feed on the chain information. So in case of hacks, and then we can just draw on the snapshots and immediately find ways to compensate our users along the way. In terms of any greater security measures, no, we don't actually try to research anything down that line. We try to do what's the best practice out there. We will have QA teams, we employ QA teams, we actually partner with a lot of Web3 gaming guilds and platforms that provide QA testing services, stress tests, and large-scale platforms. So we're pretty good on this, and we'll be very careful with the server tests and everything. And to sum it all up, and finally, Apeiron actually don't require really server-intense programming. Our games stem from COC and Clash Royale sort of server logic, where actually it's serverless. Meaning, when you play a game, because initially most of it is of a single-player experience, you'll be directly connecting with the player you are playing against, or against the AI, which is our own server. But the server load on this is actually much less compared with other games out there. And in the future, in the giant game map or alliance gameplays, because each game takes place individually between players, the stress placed on the servers is actually a lot smaller compared with many other games. And there you have it.
Right on. Thanks for that. And Frank, just like you wrap this up, maybe to wrap up the intro section for the talking points before we move on to the community section, I'd love to ask something that kind of leaves open for your interpretation. So one thing I often ask is, within your roadmap or what's coming soon for your project, what are you most excited about? And if there's really not one thing, I don't think you're limited to one thing, but just showing what's close that you're really excited for. I think everyone would love to hear in the audience.
Well, there are three things, but if you have to limit me to one thing, then it's the battle demo. The battle demo is coming soon, and we've coupled it with a mini land sale, with a battle demo pass, and with the marketplace and everything launching. So it's all pointing to the battle demo that will finally be issuing. The battle demo itself, it's not just a beta, it's not just a normal demo. The quality and the style with which we're going for is something that Web3 and Web2 have not seen before. So yeah, hopefully you can all be as excited as me when it comes to the battle demo. And if you want to get your hands on it, either get a Primeval Planet off the market or get ready to register on our marketplace coming on September 7th, 2 days later, to get the first part of the key. The second part will be available in our community. Feel free to head to our Discord community to learn more about quest marks. That's where you'll be exchanging the second NFT.
Amazing. All right. And towards the end of the call, Frank, I'm not gonna. You can definitely cover everything else on the roadmap that you're excited about. So no worries there. Okay, we're going to be moving to the community section, and we're going to be bringing in several speakers from the audience to go ahead and ask the questions that people in our Discord were excited to hear. So I'm going to be bringing in Tin as our first speaker. Once she's in, she can go ahead and ask away. Let's give her just a moment, and then we can get started.
All right.
Am I audible?
All right, Tin, we can hear you.
Okay. So, the fact that many games are not compatible with mobile devices lessens their overall appeal to players all around the world. So, my questions are, the first one is, can I play Apeiron on both my mobile device and my own computer? Then the next one is there a version available for both iOS and Android? And lastly is, what specifications does my computer need to meet in order to run it?
Okay, well, thank you for the question, Tin. So the game, upon launch, will be available on PC and mobile devices. The battle demo will only be available for the PC in the beginning. And yes, you can download it on both iOS and Android, we foresee in the future. And as for the specifications for the computer, we can't say yet. We're actually pushing the limits of the game art and the engine. And once we have tested the limits of our art style and everything, we'll begin to shave it down and create different types of graphic qualities to fit different types of PC requirements. But we've actually been running tests and QA in many developing countries. Philippines is actually one of them. And so we're pretty well notified of the machined grades in developing countries, and we're pretty sure that the game can be run on most devices in today's market as well. And that's it. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. I just really had this experience in a game being incompatible with my device. I'm still on the phase on trying to figure out how I'll make it run on my device. So I really appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Tin. We're trying to do our best.
Thanks, Tin. I appreciate it. Moving on to our next speaker, we have Mayamor. It looks to be that you're already in the space, so whenever you're ready.
Hello, am I audible?
We can hear you.
Okay. You came up with a concept to create a God game despite the fact that there are numerous categories or subgenres of games already available. So my questions are, what exactly is the backstory of it? And where did you get the concept of this idea?
All right. Well, thank you for the question, Myanmar. So, numerous categories and subgenres of these games. Well, I have to say, they are actually not available. When it comes to God games, I think you can barely find any games out there today that is titled God games. I think there's maybe 2. But we decided to create this because, well, this is exactly the reason why we're trying to create it. Because when I founded the company 6 years ago, I was trying to find a genre that's actually unique, something that can't be easily copied or created. Because, well, if we want to create a great action RPG or a great simulation or a great real-time strategy, I think there are an ample amount of companies out there at AAA quality or indie quality. We can't compete like that. We have to find a unique genre for us to create it. And so when it came to it, I chose God games because one of my favorite games was Black and White when I was young. And I remember playing this over and over, this game. And this was one of the most earliest choices I came up with when it came to choosing what game I should create when I first founded the company 6 years ago. And yeah, so Black and White, Populous, Spore, The Sims. There's actually a lot of tidbits of many other games along the way that you can actually find in that influences our game. But I'd say God Games is the one that I think is familiar but new. And luckily, I think I'm right. Because the moment we got close to the end of our production and really began to fundraise and try to look for partners, we actually found a lot of veteran developers, old-time gamers who all remember God Games and Black and White, and just like me, are waiting for the modern technology version of it. And yep, that answers that question.
Oh, thank you so much for answering. It was appreciated.
Well, thank you for being here with us tonight, Irma.
All right. Thanks so much for that. Moving on to our next speaker, we have Habibi. Whenever you're ready.
Hi. So my question is, how does the Apeiron work in terms of gameplay? Like, how exactly can a player ascend to the position of God in this game?
All right, thank you, Habibi. So many girls in the audience. Well, when it comes to God, well, just by owning a planet entitles you to become God. Once you own the planet NFT, you can begin grooming and shaping your own civilizations on the planets. And the dudes, based on how you treat them, will begin worshipping you, either as a heavenly deity or a hellish despot that controls them. And to grow more powerful as a god, you'll have to augment the amount of followers. So you have to create a greater planet, and you'll have to fight across different enemies across the universe to claim different titles and spots in the ladders, arenas, or deeper into the dungeons as you unravel more of the story and learn how to become an even more powerful god with resets, relics, and accomplishments, of course. Hope that answers the god aspect of the question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Well, thank you, habibi. Congrats on getting selected.
All right. And with our next speaker, we have Amor.
Hello, hello. Is my voice clear? Can you hear me, guys?
We
Yeah.
can hear you good.
Okay. Cool. Here are my questions. It's kind of lengthy, but it goes like, when it comes to marketing your game, what type of strategy do you plan to use? Who are the specific kind of players that you wish to get engaged with? And lastly, how likely is it that you can get people who aren't crypto gamers to try out your game?
All right. Thank you, Amor. There's so many female gamers in this server. I mean, in this channel. It's very surprising. But, well, allow me to answer that question. When it comes to marketing, we actually have a lot of Web2 marketing in mind. Right now, though, we're only beginning to ramp up our marketing activities. We actually started ramping it up in April towards the beginning of our pre-sale, and then we were going to go up. But the thing in May happened, the Lunar incident, and then the the Three Arrows incident, causing the slight crash in crypto, caused a lot of the marketing channels to be extremely inefficient, and the general sentiment towards crypto, and especially today towards GameFi, is actually significantly hampered. But, well, to couple with our game demo and our game development pipeline is not going to stop because of this. We're going to ramp up our marketing activities again. In the beginning, you'll see us more in the Web3 space doing AMAs and collabs with different metaverse or Web3 projects. But as soon as the game launches, we are moving quickly into esports. The game itself is designed to be very competitive, and skill requires a high amount of skills. So players will definitely need to compete against each other in a very versatile environment. So we partnered with a lot of esports teams, esport-backed gaming guilds, streamers, and actually stadiums and marketers platforms to market the game into the esports side of things. We actually also have partners in Web2 that works on physical gaming cards, merchandises, animations, and publishers in terms of on a global scale. So we'll market Apeiron as a Web3 game, but we'll have esports audiences, we'll host giant esports tournaments ending in stadiums in real life, and then we'll have physical gaming cards to work on the OGs of gaming, who actually are really fanatical about games, and then we'll pencil onto the traditional gamers as we move on to animations and movies, which is a big milestone we'll be hitting next year. Turning the stories into actual movies, into pilots, will be fundraising and an equity round to create this. Ultimately, Apeiron is targeting to be the first giant god game esports franchise originating from the Metaverse and the Web3. But of course, a lot of the Metaverse and Web3, we think actually the technologies are not ready. That's why we're moving so soon into Web2. We'll form our backbone and our base here in Web3, but then we'll move quickly to get gamers and players from around the world via Web2. Hopefully, with the franchise and everything in motion, we can circle back in 3 to 5 years' time when the real Metaverse technologies and blockchain technologies are ready and complete the full circle over here. And to sum it all up, we have found partners along every step of the way, from Web3 to Web2 to streamers, developers, publishers, merchandise, manufacturers, and just about anyone you can imagine along this roadmap. Hope that answers your question no more.
Cool. Crypto might be new to someone, but it's great to consider everybody in this project. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you, Omar.
Thanks, Amor. I appreciate that. One thing I wanted to mention before we get on to our next speaker is I see we have a lot of questions that people actually sent as a reply tweet to the post that went out whenever we started the space. It looks like we'll have time to go over a few of them. I believe there are 9 comments and about 6 questions, so I'll get to that towards the end, guys, just keeping everybody informed. Moving on to our next speaker here, we have John. So, John Roman, whenever you're ready.
Yo, am I audible?
Yeah.
We can
Hi, John.
hear you.
Yeah, so first of all, I really wanted to commend the way that you speak. I feel like I am in National Geographic Channel. Oh my god. But yeah. Okay, proceed to my question.
All right,
Hey,
thank you.
so- Sure. Okay. So, interesting projects you presented, but here's what I want to know. So, there's stocking, farming, and NFTs, right? But these three are the different area methods that investors find to be highly appealing. You already discussed farming, but does Apeiron, or yeah, did I pronounce it right? Oh, but does Apeiron have the latter, the NFT in the stocking features?
Oh,
I believe it's staking, right? But yeah, staking, farming, and NFTs.
yeah. All right, I got it. Thank you, John. So when it comes to staking, farming, and NFTs, well, we definitely have staking. Farming, there will be some grinding. You can earn some play-to-earn tokens when it comes to it, but it would not be a major choice. After all, play-to-earn is not something we will go big on. We'll go big on win to earned. We'll go big on team and earned, which both requires teamwork and skill. And the rewards will scale with risk as you compete with other players. And in terms of NFTs, well, the game itself runs on NFTs. So I bet, well, I can say we have 2 of the 3 methods down. Staking, we will have the NFTs themselves can be staked. We have a unique Nebula Expedition function feature on our marketplace. There are different types of pools. You can stake it in reward pools, and then this functions typically like typical staking, where you stake for an amount of time and you earn some rewards. It's still in prototype phase, but it's live right now. We are making adjustments as we go, as we listen to the community feedback and watch the market prices. And then there's also other types of staking where we stake not just our NFT assets or tokens, but we partner with other games or other platforms, tokens or NFTs to stake together to either earn rewards or to participate or allow our users and holders to participate in various airdrop or sales events. As for our tokens, all 3 of our tokens can be staked as well, not necessarily to earn even more tokens in a Ponzi-like structure, but a lot of times the tokens will be used to stake to earn different types of in-game NFTs that will be usable in-game and definitely helps you earn efficiently once you win in the arenas. And we try to create quite a lot of different asset classes. We have 3 tokens. The 3 tokens was created with, well, filtering in mind. The first 2 tokens is highly similar to Axie Infinity, where you have the governance token and the play-to-earn token. But we think this is actually not addressing one of the main problems, the idea of huge economic movements where there are community investors, gaming guilds that come in groups and giant sizes. We separated these types into the third token, Regularity, where we focus on multiplayer gameplay and giant guild gameplay and social dynamics. Each token has different gameplay and earning mechanisms, where we filter different types of groups of investors, speculators, gaming guilds, pro players, grinders, casual players, that they can all play a different game style or invest in a different earning style, be it passive incomes from star, from land, be it by actively monitoring gameplay meta to farm different types of planets, creating a planet farm, or just generally playing Apeiron casually, grinding some tokens, enjoying the game, and brewing some powerful relics to sell on the marketplace. Are all viable options in Apeiron. Ultimately, we create an ecosystem where everyone should work together in terms of a gaming guild or an alliance or a community in order to pool resources together to maximize their utility and earnings and participate in the giant GVG and esports events that will be seasonal and cyclical throughout. That answers too long, but I'll certainly hope that answers your question, John.
Yeah, actually, you got it all. Really interesting, and I love the way you put it. And more power to Team of Apeiron. Thanks for answering my questions.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. And for our closing speaker on the community side, before we go to the Twitter questions, we have Exoto. Whenever you're ready.
Yes, is my voice clear enough?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah. So, my question would be, when you go back to the day you first started creating this game, do you find satisfaction when you consider how far you've come and what you've accomplished up to this point?
Wow, you have a really deep and interesting voice there. But well, I'm glad you asked this question because, well, it really has been many years. It's been 6 years since I founded the company. Actually, it's a 6. I think it's close to 7 now. But yeah, satisfaction, no, because the game is not out yet. There's a little satisfaction knowing that we've raised so much money from the initial reception. We're probably one of the biggest GameFi projects so far in terms of a single project raise, and very proud and very glad that the world finally recognizes some of the hard work from my team. A lot of these developers and our company have been working on this. There's actually 30 of them that have been working on this project for 6 years now, and they never actually got any sort of acknowledgement. I rarely compliment them, and being an artist, being a game developer, where you have to work on the same project under one roof, where you don't get acknowledged or anything, takes a lot and can toll a lot, especially in a place like Hong Kong, where we're spending and everything, and there's a typical giant market right next door. But today, a lot of their work is being recognized, but it's only a very, very early beginning. The game has yet to be launched. There's still a lot of bumps ahead. We expect there'll be a lot of waves to ride. There'll be many obstacles, but we've gotten off to a pretty good start. Now that the game is finally showing, and the exciting times, the satisfying times will be way ahead of us. And yeah, that's pretty much it so far. Well, I certainly hope upon game launch there'll be much more satisfaction then, because finally everyone can be as excited about the game as I am right now. But we'll continue to polish it along the way, and we won't stop until Apeiron becomes a full-fledged franchise and the Apeiron Dudeland theme park will be opened. Yep.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah, it was a great journey diversifying the ecosystem, being a game developer, and more power to the team, I guess, forging and molding a place for gamers to game.
Well, thank you, Exoto.
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking with you guys.
All right. Thank you. And drink some water.
Thanks for that, Exoto. So I know we're running a little short on time, but we had so many people have questions about the game that messaged in as a reply tweet to our post. So Frank, I'm thinking maybe for this section we kind of cover it as a lightning round. So it seems to be, from the questions that I'm seeing, it's a lot of people from your community that have questions anyways. So I'm just going to fire through these things. And if you think it's worth mentioning or if you can answer it quickly, we can kind of go into it there. So the first thing I'm seeing is Menki. The Apeiron's fan page shows that your marketplace will be launched in the near future. Will the purchase transaction fees be reduced? I'm assuming this is due to the thing that's coming in 2 days, right?
Yep. Well, of course, you don't have to pay the OpenSea fees, so definitely the fees will be a lot cheaper. The information shown will also be instantaneously up to date. It wouldn't be like OpenSea with the lag and delay. And we're pretty confident you'll experience much less of the OpenSea bug problems. over here in our marketplace.
Right on. Next, we have Zine that says, do you know if the official game release will have a leaderboard or rankings? This, in my opinion, will increase players' motivation and excitement before the season is over.
Oh, being as competitive as I am, I would always put it in leaderboard. And we're actually also working with other platforms such as Guildfy, who will be integrating their own leaderboards across different platforms. And there'll definitely be different types of rewards. If you have not seen how we structure our Discord server and community events, we do a lot of competition, and we always promote competition in games. But yeah, I also have a love for marbles. But marbles still have a leaderboard, and we reward it properly. So yep, expect a lot of competitions and leaderboards that don't just cater to the entire crowd, but also specific crowds. So even for quad planners, for low-paying users, high-paying users, high-net-worth individuals, anyone, there'll be different types of leaderboards centered around different types of gameplay and audiences.
All right, that's great. Next, we have Baby TG that says, I want to ask about the game demo. Who can join the game demo? Can Primeval Planet / Starholders join for this?
Primeval holders and star owners will definitely be able to join them, and they will be able to play it as much as they want. They'll have a special login and code with which they can access the demo anytime. This actually is great because we'll be running a lot of speed running contests, handicap challenges that requires practice. The other players who can play it are the ones who hold the Battle Demo Pass. The Battle Demo Pass actually is a limited access where players can only access the game with a limited time or with limited features. And so, yep, these two types of players can both access the games, and highly suggest you guys try to get your hands on the Battle Demo Pass, and stay tuned to our marketplace update that's coming in 2 days.
Right on. And I'll ask one more question. Chen Wei, unfortunately I only speak English, so I can't ask that one. But next we have Ladai Dama, and their question is, I hope you're well and motivated, happy that I made it to today's AMA. Here's my question. Why the dudes should use our marketplace instead of secondary? Not really sure what that means, but yeah, that's the question.
Oh, that's pretty much similar to the first question. But yeah, glad you made it, Ladai. Always happy to have you on board my AMAs. So the dudes would use our marketplace. Well, first and foremost, the lowered cost is definitely one thing that's enticing. And the other one is that we actually, well, it's the stats. The filters and the stats are much more well catered on our platform and our marketplace compared to OpenSea. And in the future, actually, we are having this unique distribution and referral codes program, and players who perform these purchases on our marketplace will actually get a referral fee back to the referrer. So we'll run this on the guild level, on the KOL level, and on the Proud Daddy level. So you guys can get rewarded for helping us making sales, making on-chain actions in the future. And it's sort of like a rewards program we have for our holders and our partners who invested in us.
Right on. And with that, I know you've answered a lot of stuff, Frank. I'd love to, and I appreciate it. I'd love to turn it over to you. And kind of like I mentioned earlier, maybe leave everyone listening with the takeaways on what you think everyone should know. I know you mentioned a few really key events that are coming soon, but that, as well as many other kind of closing thoughts you'd like to leave people with before mentioning where everyone can find you.
Well, key closing thoughts would be, well, feel free to register on our marketplace 2 days later. Just need your email and your wallet, and we'll airdrop a free NFT to you on September 21st. It's the first half of the Battle Demo Pass. The other half is in the community. Come join us. Our community is really fun. We host a lot of active events, and core contributors who really enjoy Apeiron can stay here and play games and chat around, and you can earn up to as most as $1,000 per month just by hanging around here, participating in games, making fan art and everything. It's a really fun experience even before the game launches. So, and the dudes are very friendly. As long as you like having good fun, you love games, come hang out in our Discord. Other than that, you'll be waiting for the limited star sales. A lot of the materials will be posted this week. A lot of very beautiful material regarding what the stars and what the universe and galaxies would look like in Apeiron. And then, of course, there will be the game demo. The game demo will last almost a month until the end of October, where our TGE happens. And the game launch itself will be showed very closely behind the TGE. And finally, let's hope all the market conditions can be great. And September will be, well, hopefully the bottom, or at least a short squeeze or a short crash. Nothing too detrimental to the overall crypto economy. And final words would be, well, to celebrate the end of the AMA, we usually do a quick round of marbles. So if you'd like, feel free to join us on our twitch.tv/Apeiron NFT and play a round of marbles. You get free rewards, and it's pretty fun. And that's pretty much it on my end. Let me turn on the marbles Twitch. It's pretty easy, actually. You just have to go to twitch.tv/Apeiron NFT, and you'll see us. You'll see the marbles on. All you have to do is type !play, then you can join. People who qualify in the round and in the top spots, of course, in the leaderboards, will earn themselves sweet rewards. And with that, well, thank you everyone for having me, and really looking forward to more collaborations with Rainmaker games, especially ones that may involve more of the other great games that are together on Rainmaker, and hope to make your acquaintances soon.
I really appreciate it, Frank, taking the time for this AMA. What you explained to me and everyone listening, I'm sure, is something that they can take with them to play your game once it's ready. I'm sure with the following that you brought with you and your kind of brand advocates that are really exciting for the game to launch, a lot of the Rainmaker community is going to follow suit. So I really appreciate that. Of course, everyone, if you want to follow Apeiron, there's the Twitch, which they're starting up. There's the official Twitter, which is in the space right now. You just have to click on their name. And I'm assuming with all the events that you mentioned earlier, that their Discord is another place that you really want to follow them on to be eligible for those rewards, but also just stay up to date with everything that's going on.
Well, you phrased it much better than me, Devin. Thank you.
No problem. All right, everyone, we're going to be signing off. This is another Rainmaker AMA. Again, thanks, Frank, for the time, and thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll come at you again.